The 1960 presidential campaign pitted John F. Kennedy, a Catholic senator from Massachusetts, versus Richard Nixon.
The anti-Catholic prejudice comes back a little bit, not nearly as viciously as it did against Al Smith, because between 1928 and 1960, Catholics have risen. You know, they've risen in American society, they've risen in American culture, they've risen in American politics. It's not so outlandish to think that there could be a Catholic president.
Yet Kennedy still faces the age-old questions of anti-Catholics. Can you be a faithful Catholic and patriotic American?
But if this election is decided on the basis that 40 million Americans lost their chance of being president on the day they were baptized, then it is the whole nation that will be the loser in the eyes of Catholics and non-Catholics around the world, in the eyes of history, and in the eyes of our own people.
My children can't imagine a day when a Catholic was a lesser citizen or considered somehow a peculiarity. The triumph of 1960, though, wasn't that the Catholic idea won, it was that the rest of America accepted. I'm very proud of the role my family played in trying to show the common ground that the American experiment has with the Catholic tradition.
John Kennedy, he received the Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus in the Oval Office. And when Luke Hart walked into the room, he got up from his desk and he said, "Hello, Chief." He was a proud knight all his life.
Sergeant Shriver, JFK's brother-in-law and a fellow Knight of Columbus, helped the president spearhead the creation of the Peace Corps, a new program that promoted international volunteerism as a path to world peace. The Peace Corps captured the commitment to social justice of the Knights of Columbus.
The Peace Corps still resonates as a transformative expression of the American ideals. And, you know, all of us in my family certainly are very proud of the role my dad played in that, a guy who was in the Knights of Columbus, a man who was trying to make the United States government believe in the best in humanity, believe in the values of the human spirit, believe in the equality of human beings, not just in this country, but around the world.
In 1968, Sergeant Shriver's wife, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, launched the Special Olympics, aimed at fostering respect and acceptance of people with intellectual disabilities. The Special Olympics found a close partner in the Knights of Columbus.
People with intellectual disabilities are still very vulnerable, very much outside the mainstream, very much at the margins of society. The Knights took a chance to look at a person with Down syndrome who's 12 years old and say, "I believe in you, I'm going to give money to you, I'm going to give my time to you, I'm going to give my energy to you, you are important." That takes a person willing to take a chance. The Knights took a chance.
The idealism of initiatives like the Peace Corps and Special Olympics were emblematic of America's moral high ground in the Cold War. The mutual opposition to communism of both Washington and the Holy See would help usher in a new era in U.S.-Vatican relations.
Ronald Reagan and John Paul II had a great community of interest. Remember, they were practically the only people in the world who believed that the Soviet Union not only should fall apart, but that it would.
Ronald Reagan, my father, had a father who was a Knights of the Columbus member. He understood history. He understood the importance of the Knights of Columbus. He understood the importance of the relationship and having a relationship with the Pope at the time, Pope John Paul. I think he inherently understood that the road to those people being free in the Eastern Bloc countries was going to come through Poland. And in order for it to come through Poland, it had to go through Pope John Paul.
As the Solidarity movement in Poland struggled against communist oppression, the Knights of Columbus offered concrete support.
The Knights of Columbus Hall in Boston was where we organized our canned good drive, food, People showed up with financial contributions. All of that went directly to Gdansk shipyard later for the striking workers. And I used to talk to John Paul II about this often, and he used to say, you know, that's the struggle wasn't just a struggle for the people of Poland. It was a struggle for human rights for people all across the world, and I like to think that the Knights of Columbus played a big part of that as well.
We hope and we pray today for a time when the people of Poland and all of the peoples on earth will join the people of America in celebrating the joys of freedom and speak together in pride and dignity of the wheat that grows on stones. God bless you and thank you very much.
At our 100th anniversary convention in Hartford, President Reagan came and addressed our delegates. Also, the Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Casaroli, was there, and the President and the Cardinal had a private meeting in which groundwork was laid to move forward with this diplomatic relationship between the United States and the Holy See.
It's not just about diplomacy. This is about human rights. This is about civil rights. This is about social and economic justice. Everybody wins. You know, the White House wins, the Vatican wins.